Live from Studio 2A in Pix Plaza, this is the Pix 11 News at 6:30 with Kaidi Tong and Brenda Blackman.
4 or 5 teenage rape suspects in Brooklyn are expected to be released from jail tonight. Thanks for joining us for the news at 6:30. I'm Kaidi Tong.
I'm Brenda Blackman. The 5th suspect is still being held. Pix 11's Nicole Johnson is live in downtown Brooklyn with the story for us. Good evening, Nicole.
Good evening, Brenda. What this means is that the Brooklyn District Attorney will not meet its deadline securing indictments against these teenagers. So instead of holding them, 4 or 5 of them will be released, if not already. 2 were released here, and the other 2 who posted bail already, well, they will get their bail money back. So there's only 1 teen still in jail. That's because he faces separate charges on a separate case. At least 2 out of the 5 teenage suspects accused of gang raping a woman here in this Brownsville playground are expected to be released from jail today. 15-year-old Undani Brown's attorney tells Pix 11 D.A. Thompson called him this morning with the news.
Mr. Thompson did a very decent thing by calling and agreeing to have him cut from prison before the family would put a bail package together.
Brown will be released from Rikers Island without posting bail. What this means is the prosecution was not ready with all of the evidence, or due to lack of evidence. By law, a defendant can't be held past a certain time. Defense attorney Abdullah Green, who represents Ethan Phillip, was also in court. She believes the case is weak and will eventually be dropped.
The information that the prosecutor had put on the record with the fact that they had no hits, meaning no identification hits as far as a lineup, no identification hits as far as a photo array. So as far as I'm concerned right now, including the other defense attorneys, the state's evidence is very weak.
Saturday night, an 18-year-old woman and her father claimed they were walking through Osborne Playground when a group of teenagers ordered the father out of the park at gunpoint and gang raped the 18-year-old. Since then, the case has taken a few twists and turns. Police Commissioner Bill Bratton is also focusing closely on this investigation.
I spoke at length with Ken yesterday as that case is going forward. So we'll just have to wait over the next several days as the interviews continue and they try to put together exactly what happened.
Sources tell us stories changed, and that could be the reason for the unprecedented move by D.A. Thompson.
We believe that, we're confident that after a full and fair investigation is completed, that Onandi would be exonerated.
Now, just so we are clear, remember, the charges have not been dropped against these teenagers. They still face charges. This is only giving the district attorney's office time to build its case, but anything can happen, as we've seen this case change over the last few weeks. We're live in downtown Brooklyn. Nicole Johnson, Pix 11 News.
Thank you, Nicole. Could Atlantic City move north? The town had another bad year in 2015. It's lost half its revenue since 2007. So now Governor Christie is introducing a bill in Trenton that would allow Jersey residents to vote on bringing casinos up north. Some say that North Jersey casinos would generate more tax revenue for the state since they would be closer to Manhattan. But opponents say it would just cause more casinos to close in AC. The bill will be considered tomorrow in the state Senate. Powerball mania has come to an end. Sadly, none of the record nearly $1.5 billion jackpot found its way to New York. 3 winning tickets were sold, 1 each in California, Florida, and Tennessee. But there were 9 tickets between New York and New Jersey that matched all the numbers except for the Powerball. The owners of those 8 tickets won $1 million. One lucky person gets $2 million because of a special power play. 3 of the $1 million tickets were bought in Queens.
Let's take a look at some of the big stories around the boroughs today. In Queens, a groundbreaking ceremony at the Hallis Point development in Astoria, the latest project to bring more affordable housing to the city. Mayor de Blasio and borough leaders were on hand for this event, of course. The entire complex will include more than 480 affordable apartments. The $1.5 billion development is scheduled to be ready in 2018. Well, police have arrested the man they say attacked 2 girls at a Shake Shack on the Upper West Side. Herbert Stokes has been charged with sexual assault and endangering the welfare of a child. They say the 36-year-old followed a 12-year-old girl into the restaurant, at one point grabbing her wrist. He's then accused of giving another girl, a 13-year-old, a hug and a kiss on the cheek outside the building. Neither victim reported being hurt. And in Brooklyn, getting around this borough is about to get a whole lot harder. The Manhattan-bound side of 9 stops on the N line will be closed as of Monday, and they will not reopen again for more than a year. You heard me. All the stops are between Sunset Park and Gravesend. They will reopen in March of 2017. It's part of the MTA's plan to renovate dozens of stations. Riders will have to travel to other stops to get into Manhattan. And to make matters worse, there are rumors that the L train will potentially be shut down for repairs as well. The N train, the L train. Okay, now time to get on the G train. What's the weather like as we approach the weekend, G?
On the G train or here? All right. Victor DiPiero, he had a little snow in the Bronx and kind of tweeted out in Facebook, there's not much, but it's a start. Victor, thank you. Points north of that. Had a little trace or so, upwards of an inch, about 30 miles from the city. You can see in the Gulf of Mexico, there's our next storm. Heads across the Southland, heads up the eastern seaboard of the United States. And the bottom line is we could get a quarter to a half inch to maybe a half inch to 3/4 of an inch. That would be Friday night into Saturday. Bus stop weather, all right? Partly sunny skies, 36 degrees, not as cold. 3 key words. More later on.
I want to wake up in a city that doesn't sleep and find I'm king of the hill, top of the heap.
Well, the city that never sleeps is making news on the campaign trail. GOP presidential candidate Ted Cruz apparently doesn't care too much for us New Yorkers or our values.
Wow. This week, Cruz took to the radio to deliver a dig at Donald Trump, but it was New York that got caught in the crossfire.
Well, look, I think he may shift in his new rallies to playing New York, New York, because, you know, Donald comes from New York and he embodies New York values.
And today, Congressman Peter King is firing back at his fellow Republican. Maybe he can help us figure out just what are New York values and what can possibly be wrong with them.
Kayla Rama has been talking to New Yorkers all over town all day long about this. She joins us now from outside Trump Tower in Midtown. Kayla, it's a very fitting...
Right, Heidi and Brenda. Well, Donald Trump, in true Trump fashion, is now using this to his advantage. He's saying there's nothing wrong with being a New Yorker, and a local congressman agrees, now questioning Cruz's values.
The guy's a total phony. He's a fraud. He should not be running for president. He certainly shouldn't be elected president.
Representative Peter King had some sharp words for Republican presidential candidate Ted Cruz after Cruz ended up offending New Yorkers in his attempt to criticize Donald Trump. Cruz accuses the real estate mogul of having New York values, as if it's a bad thing and unrelatable to middle America.
What Ted Cruz said is totally offensive. First of all, he criticizes New York values. What values is he talking about? The values of the firemen and cops who died on 9/11, the cops who are out in the streets every day fighting terrorism.
New York is one of the greatest places to live. You have culture, you have, I mean, everything that you could think of is here in New York, and we have great people. I mean, especially after what happened in 9/11, you saw how everybody banded together and came together and did what they had to do, and that's New York to me.
New Yorkers like Kristen Linton wants Canadian-born Senator Cruz to know this is where you can achieve the American dream.
He doesn't know much about New Yorkers if he thinks that, because this is the hard work. Anywhere you want to make your dreams come true, New York is the place. So that means that we're all hard workers here.
Being a New Yorker is great because of our culture, our diversity, and it's the city that never sleeps. This is the city that dreams. You can come here and make your dreams come true.
New York is in the class by itself. What are you going to compare it to?
Cruz's New York comments come just after he failed to include more than $1 million in campaign contributions from Goldman Sachs, where his wife works.
And that's part of the hypocrisy of Ted Cruz. Listen, I love the fact that his wife works for Goldman Sachs. I think Goldman Sachs is a real asset to New York, but then don't have him criticize New York when he's coming here to get money both for his campaign and also for his personal life.
These comments will likely come up again tonight. The first Republican debate of 2016 is tonight at 8 o'clock on Fox. Heidi and Brenda?
New Yorkers telling Ted Cruz how it is. Okay, thank you for that, Kayla. President Obama gets misquoted from time to time, but it doesn't usually happen on the White House Twitter account. See if you can catch the mistake. The president said, quote, "The main impetus for better politics is going to be the American people," but the tweet said, "The main impotence for better politics is going to be the American people." Oops, Viagra, anyone? If a debate lasts longer than 4 hours, seek medical attention. They fixed that, by the way, so don't bother looking for it. All right, this is a cute story. Well, it's actually not that cute, but it's interesting how it all worked out. The New York couple, this is a New York couple that says an Uber driver refused to pick them up, but still charged them. But there's more to it than that.
David Lee told Fortune that his wife started going into labor, so he logged onto his app to request a car. The driver who arrived would not let them inside. He told them he'd lose $1,000 a day if the soon-to-be mom got sick during the trip.
They pleaded with this driver, but he still refused. So the couple decided to log onto the app again after he drove off. The next driver, though, that showed up, he had absolutely no problem taking them to the hospital.
Well, Uber said they won't comment on individual incidents, but said denying service to someone in labor is just simply unacceptable. The company has also reversed the charge. That was the right thing to do.
Yes.
Well, there's more ahead on the news at 6:30. After the break, we're remembering actor Alan Rickman.
Plus, she was last seen boarding a train to Long Island 36 years ago. What happened to Eve? Mary Murphy investigates.
And if your phone bill is soaring, you certainly are not the only one. Overage charges are sky high.